Powell to raise interest rates in 2022, mortgage rates up 50%, and when sea otters attack. Let's talk about it. Hello everybody, Joe Werber coming at you. And Jerome Powell, the Fed chairman, came out this past week and said, yep, we are going to be raising interest rates. Now, if you've been watching my channel, you know this has been in discussions for months. And the original plan was not to raise interest rates, to keep interest rates low until 2023. And then they said maybe the fall of 2022. And then over the last few weeks, Powell's been talking about reducing the bond buying program. And all of that comes down to the fact that it looks like interest rates are going to go up 3 times in 2022. And those will probably be about a 0.25% increase. So what does this mean to you, the consumer? Well, it means that mortgages are probably going to rise. But what does it mean to the banks? Banks' profits are about to skyrocket. Banks are probably not going to give you a whole lot more interest on your checking and your savings accounts, but if they're able to raise mortgage rates to what we're seeing around 3.5% or a 50% increase in mortgage rates between now and 2022, that is going to profit the banks exceedingly high because they're not going to have to pay out much more to you, the consumer, but they're going to charge you a lot more to borrow their money. So I see banks' profits going up in 2022. I think banks will do very well in 2022. But if you're thinking about buying a house, as I've said before, housing prices are going to continue to climb. Now's the time to look at buying because rates are still below 3%. And housing hasn't jumped as exponentially as it could in 2022. On top of all of that, sea otters are attacking in Singapore. I can't even believe I'm talking about this, but I saw this article and I thought it'd be great to share with you. It seems like Singapore has a problem. They have around 90 sea otters that roam the streets in this small gang, and they're starting to attack humans. Can you imagine being nibbled to death by tiny sea creatures on land? Well, that's what's happening. We had a gentleman in Singapore the other day. Somebody was in front of them. They ran through the group of the sea otters. The sea otters decided they weren't going to attack the jogger. They turned around and attacked the man behind. He was actually knocked to the ground. He was bitten dozens of times. And he says that if his friend didn't help him up, he may have been killed by these sea otters. So, you know, if you're going to Singapore, look out for killer bands of sea otters. And as we head into the end of 2021, the volatility is continuing. We saw over the last few days, along with the Omicron variant, we're seeing that the markets didn't like Powell raising interest rates. They didn't like the idea of the bond buying program slowing down. So we've seen some volatility. I'm here to say that volatility is not going anywhere. So put on your helmet, buckle your seatbelt. I do believe we'll have positive gains next year, but we are going to see maybe 1 or 2 steps forward, followed by maybe 1 or 2 steps backward. And eventually we should see gains, but it's going to be a bumpy ride. Get ready for it. I hope you've had a great 2021. I'm looking forward to 2022. Check out my video on 5 things you have to do by the end of 2022. Hope you have a great rest of your year, and I'll see you next week.